The Red Death.
The Red,
Death
devastated
the country.
No pestilence has ever been so fatal or so hideous.
The scarlet stains upon the body.
Shut the victim out from the sympathy of his fellow men.
But the Prince Prospero was happy and dauntless and sagacious. When his dominion were half depopulated, he summoned to his presence 1,000 hale and light-hearted friends, and with these retired to the deep seclusion of one of his castellated abbeys.
A strong and lofty wall girdled it in. The wall had gates of iron.
Furnaces and massive hammers welded the bolts.
With such precautions, the courtiers might bid defiance to contagion. In the meantime, it was folly to grieve or to think. The prince had provided all the appliances of pleasure.
There were buffoons, there were ballet dancers, there were musicians, there was beauty, there was wine.
All these and security were within. Without was the Red Death. It was something happening to other people.
It was far away.
Another country.
A different world. The news was brought from men returning to London on ships from the Orient. It was so far away.
An article in the New York Times. Stories out of Ethiopia, India. It was so far away.
Peripheral stories on CNN out of Wuhan, China, Thailand.
It was so
far away.
I carried on about my daily life, a bit more cautious of myself and my surroundings. Strangers.
I lived my life, maybe a bit more careful of public bathrooms. Strangers.
I went on with my life, washing my hands, a bit more wary of public restrooms. Strangers.
Some suspected it was brought to London by foreigners.
People returning from travel abroad, Africa.
People arriving from China, from Italy.
The source of the danger is another human being.
Strangers.
Dearest Elizabeth,
Dear David,
Dear Mom,
as I begin to write to you, I realize
I do not know what day it is.
I know not how this terrible reckoning of God has come to pass, but can only recount the journey that has led me to this moment of writing. It was about the beginning of September here, visiting my mother in London, that I heard that the plague was returned. It was brought, some said, from Italy. Others said it was brought from Cyprus. It mattered not from whence it came.
It spread quickly and left people dead in hours or days.
no one willing to care too much since it was happening to gay men. It spread quickly. There wasn't any cure.
I lost my first friend today.
I lost my first friend today.
I lost my first friend today.
He
won't be the last.
I was in denial. Thought I wouldn't get it. I mean, God, Mom. All of the big scary diseases were dying when you were a child. Medicine was eliminating polio and diphtheria.
But viruses, they stay with us always. They're all around us, inside us.
I'm a nurse. I know how to deal with germs. But a virus, there was no time.
It all hit too fast.
And once the cases started spiking and the ER was filling up, we stacked them up on stretchers in the hallways. There are more every week than the week before.
There are more every week than the week before. Doubling every 6 months. My friends who had it, half of them will be dead in 6 months. God, David, it's like a plague.
There is always a plague of one kind or another.
There are more every week than the week before. The disease kills with terrible speed. We eat lunch with our friends and dinner with our ancestors in paradise.
There is always a plague.
Of one kind or another. My God, Elizabeth, I am bewildered.
I am bewildered.
I am bewildered.
I am so angry.
So angry.
Angry at how powerless I feel. At nature,
Who is
trying to kill us.
At our so-called leaders who are at best ignorant and ineffectual.
At worst, outright responsible.
for
killing us.
Doctors.
Nurses
Do
do
what
what
they
they
can.
can.
I am bewildered.
I am bewildered.
I am bewildered at how it brings out the very best in us.
the very worst in
The
us.
selfishness.
It's alien to me.
The outbreak has shattered us. Families set against each other. The well rejecting the sick.
The idea of the coronavirus creeping into everyone's minds when they get a sore throat.
If I had it, would you leave me?
Sheep and cattle wandering over the crops that perished in the fields because there's no one to go and gather them. A sense of panic pervades, and everyone, it appears, is struggling only for his own survival.
If I had it, would you leave me?
The selfishness.
It's alien to me.
Corpses are simply dumped in the street or buried in mass graves. There's not sufficient consecrated ground to provide tombs for the multitude of dead. The bishop gave general power to all and every priest to hear confessions and absolve with full and entire authority. They dug a trench in which they laid the corpses, piling them up as merchandise is stowed in the hold of a ship. Everyone is afraid.
Everyone is afraid. Doctors are afraid because they don't know how it spreads. Doctors won't examine the dead, these people mutilated by the virus because it wasn't meant for them, not for the heterosexuals. Undertakers turn bodies away. They're so afraid. Stuffing people into bags, body bags if there are enough, garbage bags if there aren't.
We're taking on way more patients than we can handle. In a hospital, there are only so many places to put bodies. We're out of space, and our funeral homes are out of space, and we need those beds. So when someone dies, we need to turn that bed around quickly. Refrigerated trucks are parked behind the ER. We have to decide who gets the ventilator and who doesn't. Decisions not based on data or evidence, but on a lack of ventilators.
And hardest of all, my dearest Elizabeth, are the moments of horrible, isolated silence.
The silence.
Silence.
How sad a sight it is to see the streets empty of people, living people. 2 shops in 3 generally shut up. All the theaters, bear baitings, games, singing of ballads, or assemblies of people are utterly prohibited. Silent.
Public spaces are silent and empty. Theater stages are dark. So many people out of work. I walked by the river in the morning, and David, it's like I'm the only one out there. In New York City. The only one left anywhere. Silent.
I remember after the September 11th attacks living in Chicago, there was something awful that I couldn't figure out at first. And then I realized there were no planes in the sky over O'Hare, the busiest airport in the country, and the sky was empty, silent.
I have come to embrace this silence, solitude, separation from my fellow man. I have seen fathers abandon sick children. Lawyers refuse to come and make out wills for the dying. Bodies left in empty houses. The sick die alone. Everyone, it appears, is struggling only for his own survival. More and more, my dear.
More and more.
More and more.
I go nowhere.
If I allow myself to watch television, I am alarmed at what I see. Big gatherings, weddings, parties. This is dangerous beyond belief. It makes more people sick.
Over 500,000 men in the city. The baths are full. The bars are full. Christopher Street, Fire Island, like it's nothing more than a chest cold or an allergic skin reaction. It makes more people sick and kills the vulnerable among us.
And kills the vulnerable among us. My mother was so marvelous a woman. When she died, the shine went out of everything. The infection is propagated insensibly by persons not visibly infected, who neither knew whom they infected or who they were infected by.
I want to scream at them. It is your right to kill yourself. It is not your right to kill me. This isn't about your civic rights. It's about contagion.
Contagion.
People attacking people for wearing a mask.
People denying people proper care. for being gay.
And when the cure is found,
we will declare our victory and ignore the real disease.
The inhumanity with which we have behaved toward each other.
the
The selfishness. I would give anything to be home
With
with
you.
you.
Mom, I have to tell you, I'm not working at the ER now. I tested positive last week. I was prepared for that. Here's what I didn't prepare for. Telling my daughter to back away from me. Telling her that this scary thing is inside our house, inside her mom. She cried, and I couldn't hug her. I would give anything just to hug her.
I'd give anything to be with you, David. But I'm going to be staying in the city. They're trying chemo, experimental drugs. I'll be in and out of the hospital. I'm trying to be hopeful, but I can't ask you to come here and watch.
I must finish this letter, Elizabeth, and then to bed. Struck with the sickness, far from home. My head is filled with business, particularly how to put my things and estate in order, in case it should please God to call me away.
I never thought, with my delusions of immortality, that I would tell my mother that I was afraid of not growing old.
Wherever God erects a house of prayer, the devil always builds a chapel there. We have been here before.
There's a hidden graveyard tucked amongst the trees in my hometown. Most of the tombstones read, Loving Wife, 1880-1918. Sweet Angel, 1917-1918. Beloved Husband, 1861-1918. We have been here before.
1918, over and over. Spanish flu, a warning, a reality. We have been here before. I never thought I would see names I recognized etched in the tombstones of Facebook.
Take care of yourself, David, please. Take care of the living.
The knowledge that we may never see one another again in this world makes me long for the next. Take care of yourself, Elizabeth. Please, take care of the living.
We're hearing news of a vaccine. Numbers are down here a little. We're going to bring your granddaughter to visit. Someday. Soon. Take care of yourself, Mom. Please.
Take care of the living. Always your loving husband, Albert.
With all my heart, love, Michael.
I love you, Mom.